Hi everyone and welcome back to the Medapply YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about how it is being a medical student during COVID-19. In today's video, we have with us...
Hi, my name's Vivek and I'm a first year medical student at St Andrews.
And my name's Naveena and I'm a first year medical student from the University of St Andrews as well.
So the first question is, have you spent a semester of medical school in COVID and what have you done during your semester? So Naveena, do you want to go first?
Sure. So being in the same medical school and the same year group, we both had similar experiences of starting the first semester of medical school. So being in St Andrews, it's quite a small Scottish seaside town. So we've been very fortunate to have some staggered in-person sessions, especially for dissection and clinical skills and some lab-based sessions. So we've been able to go in person, whereas the bulk of the semester has been online in terms of lectures. How have you found it, Vivek?
I think, yeah, it's been quite a good mix. Lectures being online, just because, especially as first year medical students, because you don't know anything different, you don't know what it's like to go to a lecture in person. It hasn't been that much different. And especially because in a recorded lecture or even in a live lecture, you can pause it and like pause the slides or go back a bit and things like that. And having those features with you is really helpful just to make notes. It helps you keep up a bit more. And I think I've adapted quite well, and I feel like a lot of the medical school have adapted quite well, especially the first years, to this online learning system. In terms of the social side as well, for this semester, I think we have a lot of people have probably like become closer to the people they live with in halls and in their flats more than anything else, just because it's been much harder to like meet other people. So in terms of medicine, a lot of medics have a lot of friends who aren't medics and they know them quite well because they live with a lot of people who aren't medics. I don't know if you feel the same, Naveena.
No, I definitely agree. I think on that same point, another really good thing about everything being online is I've been able to meet so many more people from my year group online than I probably would have met in person. So there have been lots of icebreaker activities, especially at the start of the semester, and I've gotten to know a lot more people, I feel. So onto that point, Vivek, what other good things have you seen out of how studying online has been?
I guess just being able to just reach out whenever you want, because I found it actually easier just to like email lecturers just because everything's online anyway and you don't really see them. So you don't have to do like what other people describe as that awkward walk at the end of the lecture towards the lecturer to ask them like a question like about the lecture or anything like that. Like emailing lectures has been quite easy because it's such a nice way of just asking them what's going on, especially if you don't understand what's going on in a lecture. So yeah, I think that's something that's really helped as well. All right, so this next question is, what are some of the challenges we've experienced over the past few months? So I'll go first. So I think for me, the hardest thing has just been the fact that it's been such a different social experience and you haven't really been able to have the same amount of social interaction as a lot of other first years who might have gone through really hectic freshers, meeting a lot of people, and then like they go straight into medical school after that and meet a lot of their fellow medical students as well. We haven't really been able to do that, but especially in our university, I know in a lot of other universities, what has happened is people have tried to do online meetups and things like that. And those sound like the most boring things ever, but they're not bad at all, in my opinion. And a lot of people have been able to meet up in restaurants and things like that when we haven't been able to do things like that. And of course, as I said, I feel like a lot of people have gotten so much closer to their flatmates, and it's almost like we've been forced to meet medical students outside the medical school just because we don't know any other medics and we just want to make friends. So we've just like made sure that we've actually know a few people at least from the school and met up with them as well.
I definitely agree with that. I'd say another probably big challenge for me personally has been the fact that everything's like all in one room. I've had to do everything from my room.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of difficult to have that break between workspace, home space, sleeping space. It's all kind of merged in one. So I found it far harder to like concentrate. I feel like I work best in a room where I'm like talking to someone and actively listening. So I think that has been quite challenging, trying to figure out and work around that. But because everything has been online and there's nothing we can do, I've sort of had to adapt to it, and a lot of my friends have too. So that has been a challenge, in my opinion.
Yeah, you eventually get to a point where you realize that everyone's going through the same problems, and
Yeah,
you can just talk to like your fellow medics or even your fellow university students about it, because
exactly.
everyone else is also doing online lectures. Most students who aren't medics are completely alone in their room most of the time studying, because there's unless you go to a study room, there's not many other places to go to. So yeah.
So the next question is, Vivek, have you had any experience studying online before? How is this maybe different if you have?
So I actually haven't had much experience of studying online, but in my opinion, it's in terms of what I have seen with studying online and what I have also done and taught other people on through online, there hasn't been much difference, and especially because there are specialized platforms, lecturing platforms, and things that the medical school have set up that help you like get through lectures properly and help you get through the slides. For example, they publish the slides obviously, and they like record the lecture so you can watch them again afterwards and things like that. Doing things like that has meant that being able to study online has been made much easier, and especially in the past few months, med schools and a lot of universities have become much more used to concept of studying online, so they're much better at helping students get through the process and get used to it.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that I have had a little bit of experience studying online. So the last few months of high school was all online, but that was still in like a patchy, difficult time where the school was still figuring things out. So I'd say it's far more different and refined in the sense, like I agree with you, the medical school has definitely thought this through. And there are lots of different softwares that make sure we stay engaged with our learning.
Yeah,
So I think that's been a really good thing.
yeah, definitely. So what advice do you think you would give for studying online, especially medical school, Naveena?
So, even though I've only had a semester of med school, I would definitely advise making sure that you get out of your room at least once a day, or you speak to someone at least once a day. So it kind of gives you a nice sort of break. It also ensures that you don't drive yourself mad by yourself.
Yeah, no, getting that bit of fresh air, I think every day is important. Like going outside, even for like 2 minutes, is like wakes you up so much and makes you feel so refreshed. I think that is really important. And being able to just know when to reach out for help, especially if you don't understand anything. So obviously, for most people, their call is just like going to other medics and asking them what the hell this lecture was about. But if it gets to a point where no one understands what's going on, you just have to like be able to email and reach out, because if you don't know, like the only way you will learn, the only way you will learn is if you email the lecturer, and usually they reply with way more detail than you need to. And the thing is, them replying in so much detail just makes so much sense when you like finally read it and get through everything. So but these guys are experts in their field, so we need to make sure we use their resources and use them well. So yeah, that's my advice.
Exactly, I definitely agree with that. I think from my perspective, I'm a bit different to Vivek. I'm the kind of person who likes going to the lecture at the end of the lecture. So I kind of like asking in person because I feel like it's less of like it's less documented and it's just easy to go up and ask. So it did bring quite a lot in me to actually email the lecturers, but I would definitely advise if you don't understand something, clarify it earlier, just email the lecturers. They get back to you almost within a day or instantly. So it's really important and it's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the next question is, what are you most looking forward to when everything goes back to normal? And that is our last question.
Yeah. So I think for me definitely the social side
Mm.
is the most appealing. I think everyone talks about the university experience or being a fresher and how it's like the most different thing in your life. How about you, Vivek?
I think being able to like finally sit in a lecture hall with like 150 other people who are doing the same subject as you and just listen to a lecture, I think it's it's going to be such a weird experience going to our first lecture and actually seeing the whole year in one room for the first
Right.
time ever. But like I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it comes soon. And yeah, like that would be quite big. That day would be like quite an amazing day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Also, the very first day we get to have communication skills and speak to a patient in
Yes,
real
having those
life.
placements. Yeah. So when it comes to first and second years, as most of you know, like we are at the bottom of the pecking order for getting
Exactly.
placements. So where our placements are the ones most likely to get cancelled. And unfortunately, for most people in first or second year, they have been cancelled. So it hasn't, we haven't got the best start for placements, have we?
Yes, no, definitely. Actually being able to like shadow a doctor as a medical student, that would be super cool. I agree. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Should we wrap up? Thanks so much, guys, for listening to our video about what it's like going to med school during a pandemic. And if you have any more questions, make sure to go into our Medapply forum and you can ask away.
If you've liked this video and you found it helpful, click like, comment, and subscribe for more.